Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to talk about how to deal with losing money in the stock market. This video was actually requested by someone. As you can see, Mohammed says, can you do a video on how you deal with stock market losses? Feel like my loss is crippling me from making moves and getting back into stocks. So, me personally, I'm someone who has suffered losses in the stock market. In fact, some of them were very huge losses that other people were very shocked and surprised about. And they were also surprised about how well I was taking it and how calm I was remaining, even though many other people would have reacted more upset, shocked, angry, etc. if they were in my position. However, I deal with losses in the stock market very well and I remain calm. And I'm going to talk about how I do that in this video. First of all, most of how I deal with losses in the stock market is by preparing beforehand. Even before I even buy the stock, even before I open any position, I already know beforehand what my plan is, what my goals are, what are my intentions, etc., etc. Let's talk about first knowing what your goals are. So, what are your goals? Why are you even investing in the first place? Why are you opening these positions in the first place? Are you saving up to buy a house? Are you trying to save up to buy a car? Is there a specific number you have in mind that you want to reach in your account? One specific example that I've been seeing recently is that people with student loans, they calculate how much interest they are paying on their student loans, and they plan out how much they plan to gain in the stock market. And then they invest because they think that the gains they can make in the stock market will outpace the interest that they're paying on their loans. So that's an example of what someone's intentions or what someone's goals are when investing in the stock market. So before you even invest, know what your goals are in the first place. Next, only invest what you can afford to lose. Now, different people have different risk tolerances. Be honest with yourself. If your position went to zero, will you really be okay? Now, me personally, I have very high risk tolerance. Now, I could invest in a risky position, and if it went to zero, I know I'll be fine. But you have to know beforehand what you're getting into. If it really went to zero, you have to think, will you actually be okay with it? Will you be able to pay your bills, live your life, continue on? If it's going to devastate you if your position goes to zero, then let's get real here. You probably shouldn't get into that. Only invest what you can afford to lose. Next, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. What is your plan either way? If it goes right and it goes up and up and up, what will you do? Will you cash out when it gets to 50% profit? Will you cash out when it's 10 years from now and it's doubled in price? I mean, what is your goal for the upside? Also, what is your goal for the downside? If it goes down 10%, are you going to get out? If it goes down to, half its price, will you go out then? Will you ride it all the way down to zero? What are your goals in either direction? Now, things could change over time. Circumstances can change. And it's okay to modify your plan as circumstances change. However, at least have a plan beforehand of what you're going to do on the upside and the downside. Next, let's consider factors outside of the stock market. I've said this many times on my channel and in my videos. Your stock portfolio is only one part of your overall financial situation. Your stock market portfolio, it's not everything. There are many other factors outside of your stocks that determine your overall financial health. Now, me personally, I do a lot of side hustles and other types of jobs outside of my 9-to-5 job, and I consider that when I'm investing in the stock market. Let's say, for example, I lose $4,000 in the stock market. I don't have to gain that $4,000 back only in the stock market. I could look at opportunities outside of the stock market to gain that $4,000 back. For example, taking on more overtime at work, or working part-time jobs, or doing side hustles, etc., etc. Another thing to consider is, how is your full-time job going? Do you expect a raise, a bonus, a promotion? All of these things matter. Personally, part of the reason why I handle losses in the stock market so easily is because I'm doing well in my full-time job. So even if I suffer some losses in the stock market, my overall financial situation, when you look at my side hustles, my full-time job, and other things like that, it's actually going pretty well overall. And lastly, in order for any of this to matter, you need to actually execute your plan. It does not make sense to do all of this prep work, answer all these questions beforehand, only to completely abandon your plan when you actually do suffer losses. Remember, when you suffer losses in the stock market, remember all of this prep work that you did and all of the information that you gathered beforehand. Know what your plan was going in, what you plan to do on the upside, on the downside, what you do if you suffered losses and you want to make back that money. Put your plan into action. So for example, you suffered losses. Remember, what was your goal to begin with? And look at factors outside of the stock market and your options outside of the stock market on how to make that money back. And consider your overall financial health. So for example, let's say that there was a stock that I was planning to buy. Even before I buy the stock, I do a lot of prep work. I ask myself questions beforehand so that I prepare myself if I were to suffer losses. And then, if I do suffer losses, I already prepared my plan beforehand on how I'm going to make that money back. I consider my overall financial health, etc., etc. So that way, I'm not devastated when I lose, because I already did a whole bunch of prep work going into it. So those were some tips I have about how to handle losing money in the stock market. It's very important to prepare ahead of time so that you understand why you're even risking money in the first place and what you would do in case you actually do lose the money. Remember, consider your overall financial situation and how you plan to make up those losses. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.